Wow, good afternoon, good evening. I'm going to talk tonight from my new book, When Enough is Enough. It's amazing. Give me a few minutes to come on. Invite your pastor, invite your friend, invite your leaders, invite all people to join in tonight from the subject, from my book, When Is Enough Enough? This book is amazing. It's an amazing book. I want to also say I'm at my other office, and in this office, I ran into this manuscript, Walking in the Overflow. Let me grab another book, man. This book was actually my manuscript, Walking in the Overflow, in 2005. This was my very first book, 2005, Walking in the Overflow. This was the actual manuscript. And 21 years later, it's still a very, very good book. See the difference? I saw this in 2005. It's here in 2026. You can't let the beginning of something stop you from getting to the end of something. So I thought, wow, 2 different books. This is amazing. I want to talk tonight from a new book that I just released. It is actually on Amazon. And it is When Is Enough Enough? Good evening, Tiger friend. I'm telling you, this is going to help free you, set you free. The book is out on Amazon. When is enough enough? Knowing the difference as a pastor between faith, foolishness, and freedom. The core deal of this lesson tonight is to help leaders, believers, and how people recognize when love turned into enabling, when faith turned into pressure, and when obedience required boundaries. Because I know for the last 25 years in ministry, I have really been an enabler. I can say that, man. You say, no way. I can't believe that you say that. Yeah, because you got to understand the difference between faith, foolishness, and freedom. And I have enabled so many people. You have to get the book. I want to tell you, some of you are not tired because you lack faith. You are tired because you lack boundaries. And that's something that, man, I wish somebody would have told me when I got in ministry, that even with faith, you got to have boundaries. Let me say this to you. God never called you to be drained to prove you are loved, because people are so manipulated. People will use love in the wrong way. You have to know when enough is enough. You know, burnout is not a badge of honor. It is often a warning sign. So right before I personally got to the point of burnout, I realized that this was a warning sign for God to say to me, enough is enough. And I want to say to you, you got to know the difference between faith, foolishness, and freedom, because people will manipulate you in order to get what they want. I want to say to you, you can love deeply and still say enough. Because so many people will use you as long as you allow them to use you. And so you got to have systems in place. Can I really talk to some people? This is what my book is about. When is enough enough? And I'm going to tell you, love without boundaries become enabling. So when you love people and you don't have boundaries, you become an enabler. That's why they keep coming back and back and back. And they have all the sad stories, all the reason why. And then they want to blame you because you have no boundaries. You allow them to do that. So you have to be able to see that. Good evening, Bishop. I'm talking about my new book that just came out. But I want to show you this. Bishop, 21 years ago, look at the forward of that. Dr. George Calvin McCutcheon forward this book for me. Walking in the Overflow. Here it is, 21 years later. and God is good. But I want to jump back into enough is enough. I said this, and I want to say this again. Love without boundaries become enabling. I want to ask you a question. How many people have you enabled and you used a love to be able to say that you did it because of love? Also, love is a lesson that you can let them learn in the midst of that. Because what you got to understand is, this is key now, understand this, love that is not guided by wisdom will eventually harm both the giver and the receiver. So many times you are harming the receiver by giving to them and doing it in the name of love. Can I say that one more time? Love that is not guided by wisdom will eventually harm both you as the giver and the receiver. You have to come to a point in your life to say when enough is enough. In my book, statements from my book, when enough is love without boundaries does not heal, it delays growth. So if you love people and you have no boundaries, you are actually enabling them and you're stopping them from growing. And you know, many times when we raise our kids, they fail a few times before they learn to walk. So sometimes you got to allow people to fail so they can get up and walk, because you got to understand that people have to do that. Yes, setting boundaries is not selfish. It is the key to your mental health. Thank you so much. And that is what I'm really dealing with in the book. Let me tell you this also. When enough is enough, in my book, I say enable and feel kind in the moment, but crucial in the long run. Because many times this is the worstest thing that I've ever done for myself, that I wish that I can't, but I have to admit it. The worstest thing that I've done for myself was not able to say no. Hey, tell yourself right now, no. It's okay to say no. Listen, I promise you, it's okay to say no. Many of our enablements come because we don't use the word no. And let me tell you something. When you say no, people that are not manipulated will understand that. They will make you on a guilt trip. We'll talk about that in the book. We talk about that in the guilt trip. And they want to put you on a guilt trip and say, well, you know, because you could have done this, you could have done that. If you would have done this, then they wouldn't have been here. No. Do not let them do that. Listen, let me say this. Every rescue robs someone of responsibility. We have responsibility. And a lot of people do not take responsibility. Man, I've been pastor for 25 years. And I want to tell you something. I am deep in my book, When Enough is Enough, because you cannot rescue everybody. Listen, Jesus healed, but he didn't heal everybody in the cities that he went to. Listen, Jesus was able to do stuff, and Jesus was able to have an inner circle. Everybody does not have a right to have access to you. You got to be able to say when enough is enough. That's my book. Enough is enough. Compassion without correction creates dependency. How many people are depending on you because you have not corrected them? Man, I'm deep in the book. I'm telling live stories in my book, When Enough is Enough. And it's on Amazon. You can get a free read on it tonight. But I want to share this to you. Listen, compassion without correction creates dependency. You have people depending on you because you have not corrected them. Do you know how many people that have depended on me because I never corrected them? And I'm telling you, you have to come to a point to say enough is enough. Listen, Jesus loved people deeply, but he never rescued them from responsibility. Man, listen, he loved people deeply, but he never rescued them. They had to be responsible. In all of Jesus's healings, his teachings, remember, you got to know the difference between faith, foolishness, and freedom. And a lot of people will never let you be free because they want to mess with your mind like you owe them something, but you have to understand it. And Pastor Keller, I want to tell you, man, I wish somebody would have told me this when I first started in ministry. You have to have boundaries. You have to be able to understand that it's okay to say no. You got to be able to understand that burnout is not a badge of honor. It's often a warning sign from God. God gives us warning signs. You know, Jesus loved people deeply, but he never rescued them from responsibility. You have to understand that people are where they're at because of the choices that they made. People are where they're at because of the decisions that they made. And because they made those decisions, don't you enable them by rescuing them all the time. Sometimes they got to rescue themselves. The man was at the pool for 38 years. Jesus could have easily said to him, you're healed, but Jesus gave him a responsibility to get up. You have to get up. There's a difference between helping and rescuing. You can help people, but you can't keep rescuing them. You cannot do that. It's one thing to help people, but you got to know when enough is enough. Helping empowers, rescuing weaken them. So you got to ask yourself, am I helping them or am I weakening them? When I was growing up, my uncle used to say, I'll give you a fish you'll eat today, but I'll teach you how to fish and you won't starve tomorrow. You have to understand that helping is empowering. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Stop letting people put a guilt trip on you. Stop letting people manipulate you. Stop letting people do things to you that they can do for themselves. It's time to say enough is enough. I want to say this again. Are you helping them or are you rescuing them? Helping is empowering, meaning you empower. That's what I'm trying to do tonight. I want to let you know my new book that's out is called Standards When Enough is Enough. And I want to empower people to be able to set boundaries and not feel guilty. Listen, strength without boundaries will destroy you. You can be the strongest person in the room, but if you don't have any boundaries to know what you can lift, guess what? You can tear your biceps, you can tear your muscles, you can strain your body because you're carrying strength that you are not disciplined to carry. So strength without boundaries will destroy you. I want to tell you something. Strength that is not steward becomes self-destruction. Listen, you got to have some stewardship or you're doing self-destruction. It's like having a grenade finna go off and it's going to explode. So I want to help you. These are statements that you're going to actually get in my book. I make this statement in my book. Strength without boundaries is not maturity. It is being misused. Stop letting people misuse you. Set some boundaries. Enough is enough. Look, just because you carry it doesn't mean God told you to. Man, that's what I really want to say in one of my chapters. Just because you're carrying it doesn't mean God told you to. Lots of the things that we carry, we're not even supposed to be carrying. We're burdened down with so much because it's not your responsibility to carry it. When is enough enough? Life is too short for you to keep thinking that you can handle everything. You can't handle everything. You have to have systems in place. And I talk from the business perspective in this book also to help business leaders realize that many times you're trying to carry stuff that you were not ordained to carry, others are going to carry it. I say this also, many leaders are strong enough to survive what they should have refused. You're going to get this in a minute. Listen, you got to understand that you are strong enough to carry what you refuse to carry. You can't keep carrying that load because pretty soon you're going to break. Remember, you're going to break, okay? Capacity without wisdom leads to collapse. And that's why you have so many people collapsing, so many businesses collapsing, so many things going because they have no type of boundaries or systems in place. Can I tell you what? God protects what you protect. If you don't protect it, God's not going to protect it. Listen, I want to tell you something. This is so important with my book. It is so important. When enough is enough, God will protect what you protect. Right? Listen, I want to tell you something. Speak directly to leaders, pastors, caregivers, parents, entrepreneurs. You were not created to absorb unlimited pressure. You bust under pressure. Listen, there's water here. If I squeeze it, it'll come out. Listen, I want to say this, man, this is so important that you understand. You have to understand you were not created to absorb unlimited pressure. Everybody, man, this is something that I wish I would have known 21 years ago. Everybody should not have access to you. You don't owe the world. God could not do it. You don't. Listen, it's okay. Say no. Say no. No. I promise you. If you set systems and boundaries in place, I want to tell you something. Listen, faith does not counsel wisdom. Solomon got all the way to the end of his life. And God asked him, and all he wanted was wisdom. Wisdom. Somebody said, listen, faith does not counsel wisdom. Faith and wisdom was never meant to compete. They were meant to work together. Faith and wisdom. I wrote a book called The God Kind of Faith. Man, I want to tell you, man, it's important to have faith. It's important to have wisdom. They work hand in hand. You know, I'm not going to have faith to say I'm going to go jump off the cliff and God's going to save me. That's not wisdom. That's foolishness. You got to know the difference between faith, foolishness, and freedom. Don't go out there and say, do whatever you're going to do and say it's going to be out. You got to have wisdom to apply that. I want to say that again. Faith without wisdom is not bold, it's recklessness. And there's too many people out there that's recklessness because they got faith. You can have all the faith in the world, but if you don't have wisdom, you have to have wisdom. Listen, my book, When Enough is Enough. It's enough. Somebody say, enough is enough. That's right. Thank you. Wisdom tells you when to say no, even when faith says you can say yes. Man, I'm telling you, my book is deep. You have to see it. It's on Amazon because, listen, I want to tell you something. Wisdom tells you when to say no. Even when faith says you can say yes. Because many times we blame it on the Spirit. Stop lying on the Spirit and follow the red signs. You know they're not going to do what they're supposed to do, but you enable them to do it because you don't know how to say no. I'm speaking to myself. Enough is enough. Do you know how many people I've hindered? How many people I've enabled? How many people I have rescued instead of empowered? And that's what you have to understand as a leader, as a pastor, as a business person, as a parent. You have to know when enough is enough. God gives faith for obedience and wisdom for protection. Can I say that again? Faith is for obedience and wisdom is for protection. That's why the wisest man in the Bible asked God for wisdom. Wisdom, to apply wisdom in situations. Man, I'm telling you, the book is deep. The guy that wrote the book, he wrote the book from pain in order to get the purpose. And when you're in the midst of pain, trying to get the purpose, you expose the stuff so you can help yourself. It's kind of like you cannot heal if you don't recognize what's going on the inside. And when you recognize the inside, you can heal on the outside. You can look healthy on the outside and be dying on the inside. That's what ministry almost done to me. Ministry almost killed me until I realized, Scott Gordon, you got to be able to say when enough is enough. And that's what I want to help leaders to understand. It's okay to recognize it. I could not get help until I realized that I needed help. And I needed help to be able to help myself to say no when enough is enough. Listen, saying enough is not unbelief. It's discernment of the Spirit. We are a spirit person, and you got to be able to have discernment of the Spirit. When you have a discernment of the Spirit, it's not enough. Listen, let me say this. Say and enough is not unbelief. It is discernment. You got to be discerned. Listen, even Jesus says this. I think I wrote this in maybe chapter 6, where Jesus says, you have to be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove. Because if you're not wise, people would manipulate you. If you're not wise, people would continue to treat you as a floor mat and think that it's okay. You have to be able to say enough is enough. And don't feel bad. Come on, would you say this with me? Say no, say no. Listen, if God gave you the vision, he gave you the limits. And I know, man, I'm a faith walker. I'm a faith believer. I know what faith can do. I write the vision, make it plain. But I heard God say this very well to me. And I want to tell you something else that he showed me in a dream the other night. I want to say this again. If God gave you the vision, he also gave you the limit. The other night, I was woken up by an encounter with God. Now, this was a crazy encounter with God. It was like I was asleep, but I was talking to God. I woke up. And what happened was God took me to the cemetery, and he put me in the cemetery, and I just got done doing somebody's committal at the cemetery. And they had ordered some doves to be there at the cemetery. And when they ordered the doves to be at the cemetery, they released the doves. I watched God. God took, man, this is a God moment. And so I watched them release the doves. And when they released the doves went up. The doves went around in a circle. And they found direction to go back home. And in the midst of that, I woke up and it was like God said, you've been going in a circle. It's time for you to find the direction that I want you to get back to. And I thought, whoa, man. I mean, it was a God moment that God was saying, you're going in a circle. And if you notice, a dove goes in a circle in order to find the direction to get back home. So God has been allowing me to go in this circle to find direction to be able to say, enough is enough. Can I say that again? If God gave you vision, he also gives you the limits. You just got to believe it, man. I'm telling you, this book, amazing, when enough is enough. Because you got to understand, Jesus often withdrew. And that's what I want to tell you, man, just in my introduction. Because so many times we do things to where we really are in a position. Let me go on and say it. We do things because we want people to feel validated, or we do things because we're doing things, we're busy doing nothing. And so God showed me something. Even Jesus had to withdraw from the 12 disciples. And when he withdrew from the 12, he got down and he had 3. And you know, I want to tell you something. Sometimes you can be around too many people and miss God. Man, I hope that helps somebody. When enough is enough. When enough is enough. Paul set boundaries. Jesus set boundaries. Listen, the Bible tells us, I grew up with the Seventh-day Adventists also. I understand what he says in Exodus. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Even God rested on the Sabbath. He rested. It's okay to get rest. You know, I feel so good when I get rest. I feel myself being agitated. I feel myself when I'm unrest. When I get rest, I wake up, I feel very good. Listen, guilt is a poor leader. I want to help somebody on this one. Can I help you on this one? You ever had somebody that just try to make you feel guilty? Think about it. Guilt is a poor leader. Many people stay in unhealthy cycles, not because God told them to, but because guilt trained them to. And this is deep. This is deep. When enough is enough. People make you feel guilty, and when you do stuff feeling guilty, it's an unhealthy relationship. You have to understand this. Guilt will keep you where God never assigned you. Wow. Can I say that again? I'm telling you, my book is deep. It's God speaking to me. I want to make a comment, and I want to say this again. Guilt will keep you where God never assigned you to be. Wow. How many of you have allowed guilt to keep you bondage? Can you be honest? Guilt will keep you where God never assigned you. Every one of us got an assignment. And many of us in that assignment can get distracted because of guilt. Obligation is not obedience. Many times we feel obligated, but we're not being obedient. me say that again. You're going to find it in my book. Get the book. Get the book. When enough is enough. Obligations is not obedience. Listen, pressure is not the voice of God. Many times under pressure, we do things and we miss God. Boy, I'm telling you, this is deep, but it's true. Can you be honest with yourself? If love requires you to disappear, something is wrong. You will catch this one. Listen, let this digest. If love requires you to disappear, something is wrong. Love does not make you hide. You'll catch that one later. I want to tell you this. Listen, pressure is not the voice of God. And many times we do stuff under pressure. Let me say me. There's many things that I've done under pressure and I've missed God. I've missed God because of pressure and not the voice of God. Romans 10 and 17 on my February series is faith cometh by hearing and hearing by the word of God. And many times we allow pressure to push us instead of listening to God to direct us. God leads with clarity, not confusion. God is not the author of confusion. People are confused, but not God. And so you have to understand that God leads with clarity, not confusion. I want to help us. I'm going to be just a few more minutes, but the book is out. The book is out. The book is out. Extra, extra, extra. Read all about it. The book is out. When enough is enough. Pastor Gordon wrote a book, From Pain to Purpose, to be able to help others to realize that enough is enough. Listen, help people. I want to say this too. Helping people identify the difference between conviction and guilt is in one of the chapters of my book. You have to understand that, man. You have to understand that. Good evening, Mr. Dean. Good evening, Gary. Man, I'm talking about this powerful book that I just released, Enough is Enough. If you just got on here, you have to go back and watch this because I gave some amazing points. I want to help people identify the difference between conviction and guilt. Conviction leads to freedom. Say that again. Conviction leads to freedom. Guilt leads to bondage. And people will keep you in bondage. People will keep you in bondage under guilt to make you feel guilty because you said no. Make you feel guilty because you've helped them for the last time. Made you feel guilty because they can't get on your schedule because you had boundaries and already had a schedule. They make you feel guilty because they want you now to do what they want, write an agenda for you. But you got to understand, conviction leads to freedom. Put some systems in your life to where you understand you got freedom. You can't be, can I talk to me? I can't be every place at one time. I can't do everything. You can't do everything. It's okay to say no. It's okay to miss. Dr. McCutcheon told me that one time he said, well, you know what, Milton, you are 100% only if we allow them. But if we don't recognize when enough is enough, we will think it. That's when I open up to say, you have to know the difference between faith, love, and freedom. Because many times we think that we're helping them, but we're actually hindering them because in the midst of it, we are enabling them instead of empowering them. And many times in life, we have not been empowered because we never dealt with us. And because we continue to stay in that cycle, we begin to think that they need us, that we got to do this, or we want to do this because we want to be liked or we want to be loved. Then guess what we're doing? We're doing it. But even God reminds us that conviction leads to freedom, but guilt leads to bondage. And so many people are in bondage. And that's why we got to be able to say enough is a stewardship decision. When is enough enough? When do we do that? Even in our gift of helping in this community, even in our gift with helping with young people, we have to be able to say enough is enough. Because if not, then check it out. I know good and well, if you feed me every day, I'm going to be right there. But when you stop feeding me and I now am mad at you, then you think that I put the guilt trip on you, and I do that. And actually, it is so important because I said this earlier, strength without boundaries is not maturity, it's being misused. Just because you can carry it doesn't mean God told you to do it. Many leaders are strong enough to survive what they should have refused. And many times we can survive, we can make it. I don't care who likes me because I say no. Let me be honest with you. It used to bother me because I wanted everybody to like me. I don't care who liked me now. But you know what? In our mind, in our system, we've been wired. We've been wired for that. Why do you think people put crazy stuff on posts? They want to see how many likes that they can get. Then they wake up the next day and they don't get any likes. Then they do something even crazier to try and get likes. You know, I'm speaking directly to leaders, pastors, caregivers, parents, entrepreneurs. I'm speaking because faith does not cancel wisdom. And that's the most important thing. Faith without wisdom, as I said, is not bold, it's reckless. And there's too many reckless people out there that saying that they're operating in faith. You got to have wisdom to operate in faith. And so enough is enough. And that's the book that I want to tell you. It's a great book, not because I wrote it, but because of the information and the wisdom that God gave me. Enough is not quitting. Let me tell you what I had to tell myself the other day. And that's why I put this in the book. Enough is not quitting. Enough is choosing to manage your life according to God's design. How did God design you? And as God designed you, listen, God had already spoke to Moses. Moses stayed in the wilderness for 40 years. 40 years. 40 years. And all he had to do was obey God. All he had to do was obey God. I've been in the wilderness. You've been in the wilderness. And we created our own wilderness because we did not listen and obey God. When we examine ourselves and look at it to realize that enough is enough. Moses was in the wilderness. Jonah is another prime example when enough is enough. God told Jonah to go to Nineveh. Now, I'm only saying this because as a pastoral, but my book is business, spiritual, it's all of it. It hits every avenue. But I'm only saying this tonight. God had told Jonah to go to Nineveh. Instead of Jonah saying enough is enough, Jonah got on the ship to go to Tarshish. And when Jonah got on the ship to go to Tarshish, Jonah still did not say enough was enough. He found himself in a fish. I've been in some fishes, not in the natural fish, but I've been in some situations because I knew enough was enough, but I did not say enough was enough. I knew I've been in situations because I did not say no when I should have said no. When we can see that, yeah, man, God's plan doesn't include getting likes. Yeah, I agree with that, Milton, 100%. It's about bringing people to that is so important. And that's why I wrote the book, Enough is Enough, because when we realize that, and let me say this again, enough is not quitting. Enough is choosing to manage your life according to God's design. Now, statements that I share because many times in our life, we will say yes when we know that we should have said no. And I want to help us too. And I'm going to be on about another maybe 5 minutes, no more than 10. I want to help us. Stop blaming God when God gives you the red signs. You see the signs. You know the signs. You walk like a duck, quack like a duck, call it a duck. Enough is enough. You have to be, and stop blaming God for our mistakes. Because all we got to do is say enough is enough. Enough is not angry. Let me say that again. Because somebody will say, man, he's angry. No. Enough is not angry. It is alignment. It's time for me to align myself with the word of God. And as a pastor, I have to say that, man. I have to say that, you know what, Scott Gordon, you cannot keep operating like that. Two things are going to happen. You're going to get a burnout or have a heart attack. And that's not what God created us to do. Enough is not angry. It's an alignment. And I want you to align yourself with God to ask God what God wants you to do. Man, I used to think I could save the world. I can't save the world. Jesus couldn't save the world himself. He said, I came to save the world. But that's their choice. It's people's choice to receive it. All I can do is give it. If they don't receive it, I can't blame myself for it. Enough is enough. So, oh man, I'm telling you, this book is deep. This book is good. When you get it, you're not going to want to put it down, because enough is saying yes to God, even when it means disappointing people. Because many times we don't want to disappoint people, but not knowing that we're disappointing God. I would rather disappoint people than to disappoint God. So let me say this again. In the book, I say enough is saying yes to God, even when it means disappointing people. Listen, it's important. I want to tell you, I don't own nothing. I'm a steward. I'm a steward. Everything I have belongs to God. Everything that I do, I manage for God. Everything that He's allowed me to have, the Lord, as Job said to me in the book, the Lord give it and the Lord take it away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. You have to know when enough is enough. And that's one of the things that helped me to realize, Carl, to be able to say, when is enough enough? Because so many times when we get to our goal, I'm a huge achiever. I mean, I'm a big achiever. I mean, I'm a huge achiever. And because I'm a huge achiever, I set a goal and I hit the goal, and then I want to keep going on. Harder to struggle. Harder struggle as a teacher can save people from themselves. Yeah, man, that is so true. That is so true. You can't manage what you refuse to limit. That's so important. You can never manage what you refuse to limit. And that's what helps me to say enough is enough. Stewardship includes your time, energy, emotions, and your health. So if you want to be a good steward, you got to manage your time, your energy, your emotions, and your health. Health is your wealth. Health is health. Listen, saying enough protects what God still wants to use. Yeah. Amen. Enough is right. I needed that. But I'm telling you, it is a book. It is called Standards. And When Enough is Enough, it just says Scott L. Gordon on the book. By Scott L. Gordon. It is out. It is out. The book is out. And I want to tell you this. This is tied to legacy, longevity, and generational impact. I want to be able to leave a legacy of faith for my kids. I want to tell you, it is so important. I want to instill a legacy in people that would help them to change the world. Change your thinking, you change the world around you. Listen, I want to tell you something. You are allowing, let me say, how would I say it? You are allowed to stop bleeding for things God never asked you to die for. I wish somebody would type that. I'm going to say this slow. You are allowed to stop bleeding for things God never asked you to die for. Too many people are dying for things that God never asked them to carry. Wow. It's in the book. Listen, you're allowed to stop bleeding. Your blood and your bleeding, your mess, is getting off on everyone else because you're carrying something that you were not designed to carry. It's okay to say enough is enough. Let me say this. I wrote a book called Failure is Okay. Enough is not failure. Enough is wisdom. For anyone that can get that, listen. Enough is not failure. Enough is wisdom. And when you can see that and understand that, you're free. I'm free, man. I'm free. Man, there is nothing in this world that's going to bound the mind as it used to be. Because I got to forget those things that are behind and press towards the mark. You don't owe access. Let me say this. You don't owe access to anyone who demands it. Too many people are demanding your time. When is enough enough? Wow. Say that again, Scott Gordon. You don't owe access to anyone who demands it. You have to have boundaries. You have to have systems. I have an amazing executive assistant who has helped me to manage the last 18 months of my time. And you talking about the last 18 months of freedom because people not able to demand. People get upset because when they wanted something on my schedule, I say to them, call my assistant. And they get upset because I don't make those decisions because it gives me time to think about it. Because let me say this again, you don't owe access to everyone who demands it. Yes, you have to, man. I'm telling you, the book, oh my God, there was so much more. It's 151 pages of wisdom, 151 pages. Listen, I want to tell you something. God is not offended by your boundaries. He's honored by your obedience. Obedience is better than sacrifice. God is not, yes, boundaries and systems are a must. You deserve freedom. Thank you. One of my favorite. Let me tell you something I'm going to say this. Listen, I have to tell y'all, okay? And I'll get back to this in a moment. I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher, and Keisha's sister, Shalonda, was one of my, I shouldn't have favorite, but she was one of my favorite. And she passed away. And in the midst of her passing away, it really shook me. I mean, I'm talking about, it shook me to the core. I'm talking about, and I've had lots of funerals, lots of people that passed away, but Shalonda really just ministered to me in a way that no other death had ever affected me. But it helped me so much because I started teaching a grief class, a Bible study. And out of that, it helped me to be able to deal with me. Shalonda's death brought so much to surface from me in order to help me be where I'm at today. That really, I mean, when I say it really shook me, but it shook me in a good shook because I realized and knew what she was, but it also helped me to identify some unresolved stuff inside of me that helped me become a better pastor. And I've been pastoring there for 21 years. So now it's going on 23 years almost. But in that death, it was as if God was showing me some unresolved grief in order to say enough is enough. So this really helped me in the midst of that, of where I'm at today. So little writings here, dealing with grief, dealing with helping the church. But it really helped me. They thought I was doing it for them, Keisha, but really I was doing it for me in order to cover up the pain that I was carrying in the loss of that situation. And so that's why I want to say God is not offended by our boundaries. He's honored by our obedience. And so because I was obedient in teaching what I classified as how to handle grief, how to do it, because I've been doing hospice for 25 years. It also birthed another book called There's No Fear in Death Because I Know What's Next. And you know, when you say enough to what's draining you, you make room to what's going to fulfill you. Man, I'm telling you, can I say that again? I want to tell you, man, when you make room for what's draining you, you make room for what's going to fulfill your life. Man, listen, can I say that again, man? You don't understand the freedom that I feel in releasing this book here. I think every one of my books are amazing. But this book here, I want to tell you, buy the book, get the book, read the book, mark the book up, apply the book, allow the book to help you to break free from bondage. Because when you say enough to what is draining you, you will make room for what will fulfill you. And I'm telling you that God will really help you. I want to ask you a question. And you have to be honest. Be honest. What have you been carrying that God never assigned you to carry? You don't have to tell me, but I would love to know, what have you been carrying that God never assigned you to carry? Man, Milton, I was carrying so much, man. I was carrying luggage. I was carrying problems. I was carrying bills. I was carrying groceries. I was carrying, people that God never assigned to me. But I'm telling you, that's why people that you know that's not been assigned to you, Man, that's me. I can be honest with Scott Gordon because this book has to be able to be transparent to help people. What have you been carrying that God never assigned you to carry? You think that you're doing a good job, but when you get home, you hate it. You think that you're doing a good job, but it bothers you. It eats at you. It burdens you down. Listen, if that's the way you feel, God did not give you that assignment. God did not give you that assignment. Yeah. No, I'm going to tell you, you will find yourself at a dead end if you're not honest with yourself. I'm honest with me, man. I'm honest, man. Man, listen, when I came to Jesus, I was a wreck. When I came to Jesus, I had a past that was just tore up from the floor up. When I came to Jesus, what I realized is that, man, I just need to say, God, I need help. I need help. I tried it, and I could not fix it, could not do it. I want to call you. I know your name, Tink, but and I see your name right there. But Tink, you are so real. I love that because Tink, what I say a lot of times is majority of our problems are not our problems; they're other people's problems. And so you are so like Milton say, all the young black males. That man, and you know what? That is that man. I want to tell you, man. That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. To say, because when we can identify what we're carrying and what is enough, and then we can say when enough is enough, that helps us. That helps us. I got a deep question. And this is a deep question. Who benefits from you never saying no? Hear the question. Who benefits from you from when you never say no? Who benefits from you never saying no? Who benefits from you never saying no? You're not benefiting. You're not. You're putting yourself in bondage. You're staying in bondage. You're connected to bondage. Be free tonight. Be free. It's okay. Practice. Wake up tomorrow if somebody needs you. And listen, one of the worstest things, and my wife probably would say worst is not a word, but one of the worstest things that I did before I got Miss Katie was I always said yes. Yes. Man, I don't know how I've done it, but I've done 4 funerals in one day. 4 funerals in one day. I don't know how. I know it was God. Man, I'm telling you, man, I had drove miles and came back and got up and did it again because why? I did not say no. It's okay. Man, it's okay. Listen, who benefits from you never saying no? You got to. You have to. You have to. Because if you don't, people, let me tell you something. What I learned, this is what I learned. I hate to say this, man. August the 17th, 2001, Reverend Urban Ruth died. He was at the hospital. He died. Guess what? 30 days later, they asked me to pastor that church. It's been 25 years. And guess what? If I die tomorrow, they're going to get somebody else. You better enjoy your life. I'm telling you, listen. Enough is not about anger. Enough is alignment. Enough is alignment. Man, I'm telling you, it's so important. It is so important that you realize that. Think about the people in your workforces. You have CEOs that have quit, CEOs who died, and they replaced them. They replaced them. I want to tell you something. Hey, Milton, I like that. Milton, when I do my next presentation, I'm going to say no is a complete sentence. I like that. I need to write that down. Hey, man, you got my phone number. Text me that. No is a complete sentence. Man, that is deep. That is life. I love that. No is a complete sentence. I want to ask you one other question. You and your beautiful wife deserve to be watching it. Hey, Keisha, I'm telling you, last night, and hey, I didn't want to post it, but I got a video with Christy on the table dancing with him. All right, let me ask my last question. What would obedience look like if guilt was no longer in charge? Man, it's my last question for tonight. I'm open for dialogue, conversation. What would obedience look like if guilt was no longer in charge? Can you be honest? Would you be honest? Can you be honest with me? What have you done because of guilt that deep down you regret? When is enough enough? What have you allowed guilt to keep you tied to? Huh? What would obedience look like if guilt was no longer in charge? I want to tell you a true story. 2002, I was called to pastor Calvary Baptist Church. And this pastor had took a picture of me where I went to jail. And he passed this picture around. And as he passed this picture around, he began to try to sabotage because he felt like he should have been the pastor of Calvary Baptist Church. I never fought. I didn't even ask the pastor of the church. But when someone called me and told me about the picture and the flyer, I said to them, really? I said, can I see it? I said, that is me. Man, I said, that's me. I said, he didn't put everything I've done on there though. And you know, I was free. People was tiptoeing around it. I knew people that seen it, but nobody said anything. Because I gave my life to Christ. I could not unchange the past. But I wasn't going to allow that guilt to keep me in bondage. And do you know what the enemy meant for bad? God had turned around. Because it opened up doors to where a radio station called me and wanted to hear my testimony. Newspaper article in Sapulpa did my testimony. All because of that. Listen, what would obedience look like if guilt was no longer in charge? You have to understand that really enough is enough. Hey, I want to thank y'all for joining in tonight. I'm telling you, the book is amazing. The book has, and I've been writing, it's been here. And I've been writing, abundance without guilt looks like receiving and resting without apology. Making choices from alignment instead of obligations, and trusting that my success doesn't take me from anyone else. I want to tell you, Tink, if you don't have my book, when you come to church on Sunday, I want to give you this book. It's called Lonely at the Top. In that book, I share some experiences because everybody's not happy for your success. So don't feel guilty because your obedience elevated you to where God wanted you to be. It is a shame of the people that should be cheering you on are the ones that would tear you apart, but smile in your face. It's very lonely at the top, but I want to tell you something. You earned it. You deserve it. And because of that, you must continue to be an achiever and be able to say, enough is enough. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to do that, you're free. Milton said, it's God's plan to mend the brokenhearted. Understand your story is God's glory. That's it, man. I tell people all the time, everything I am is because of him. And I want to also say this. If it was not for my wilderness moments, if it was not for my past, my future wouldn't be where I'm at today. Do you know that, I tell people this all the time, Jonah has a powerful story for the backslider. David has a powerful story for the person that failed. Do you know God called David a man after his own heart? Do you know Moses was a murderer? Moses was on the run, and God still used him. If we look at it when enough is enough, Rahab was a prostitute that hid the others on top of the roof. God specializes in the impossible. The thing that we have to understand is that God can take the brokenhearted and mend it. Because every one of us on here tonight can testify that we've been broken, but God has mended us. And if the truth be told, some of us are broken now. We look healthy. We think we got it all together. But the truth of the matter, we're saying, God, if it wasn't for you, we would have gave up. If it wasn't for God, can I just tell you, I would have thrown in the towel. If it wasn't for God, I would have quit a lot of things. But because of God and the assignment that I have on my life, I want to hear him say, well done, thou art good and faithful servant. And what I learned is just because you have an assignment, everybody that's in the race with you ain't for you. Some of them will put some hurdles in your life, but hurdles make you stronger. You may trip on a hurdle or two, but you can't quit because you got to understand. As I said, faith comes by hearing. But the truth of the matter that you have to understand is you have to understand what the word is. And the word says, I'm a preacher, I'm supposed to quit, but I gave you my last question. But the word reminds me in Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Doesn't mean there ain't going to be no weapons. But what it matters is. And then somebody asked me one time about doing this or that. And I said, no. Jesus had a Judith in his life in order to get to his destiny. Some Judiths are designed in order to help you get to your destiny. If Judith would have got outside of there, then the scripture would not have been fulfilled. God has already wrote the script for your life. And there's some things in the script that you don't like. There's some things in the script that you want to avoid. But because God has already wrote the script, it's going to be played out whether you like it or not. But what you got to understand is that you already know the end of the book. Because the book says, nay, in all these things, we are more than a conqueror. And so because we are conquerors, man, I can teach all night now. Because we're more than conquerors, then I got to understand that Judith was designed to betray me. Judith was designed to set me up. Judith was designed to have me killed. Judith was designed to stop what God had in place, but God used Judith to elevate me to a higher level. Come on, thank God for your Judith. Stop complaining about your Judith and start thanking God for your Judith, because there is a Judith that's assigned to you. And I tell people this, and I'm done, man, I'm done. I tell people this, you need a Paul in your life, and you need a Barnabas in your life. See, Paul was somebody that can actually give construction and be able to correct you. But then you got to have a Barnabas that's going to be able to tell you it's going to be okay. Because if you don't have that Paul and Barnabas in your life, so Dr. McCutcheon was my Barnabas. He was my Barnabas. He was someone that I could share any and everything with. And it's tough to have that. I got a few people that I can trust, but I don't trust them like I trust Dr. McCutcheon. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way, because everybody don't have access. Everybody don't have access. But you got to have someone, and I know it's so good to say I got God and I can do it. But you got to have that human that you can talk to, that you can be able to release. Because confession is good. Confession is good. And if you don't confess it, and if it's bad, it'll eat you up on the inside. But if you confess it, it'll help you. See, enough is enough. I'm telling you, this book is amazing. When I say amazing, it's amazing because it hit every level. You know, I said it tonight just from the spiritual perspective, but it's also amazing because in the business perspective, you know, I'm working with my property manager now. Because and Keisha, you can probably relate to this. As a property manager, Keisha says the rent is due on the 5th. On the 6th, it's late. On the 6th, it's late. You got to have boundaries. People will have excuses after excuse after excuse. And so in 2026, I had to say to myself, hey, enough is enough. You have people moving out owing you $10,000. You writing off $40,000 to $100,000 a year on past due rent. Enough is enough. This is a business book. This is a spiritual book. This is a book that I had to come to my sense and say, Scott, you are enabling them by letting them do that. They only gonna do what you let them do. You're the CEO. Man, I'm telling you, the book is deep. When enough is enough. And so I write it so practical, so the business person will pick it up. The unsaved person will pick it up, and they don't want to know who that Jesus he talking about. Enough is enough. I use it as an evangelistic tool. And so, and you know what, Keisha, man, Keisha, I'm telling you, I want you to read that book and give me your opinion, because you're gonna love it when I talk about the real estate part. You're gonna love it, because business is business. But Keisha, you know what? Because I opened this up tonight, because of faith, I was foolish. Because of faith, I've been foolish because of faith. I mean, totally foolish because of faith. You know, you help people that want to continue to not help themselves. Let me tell you something. I love people. But loving people without boundaries is dangerous. Loving people without boundaries, you set yourself up for failure every time. Hey, any questions? Because I've been staying on here all night. I was staying on it all night long. But Keisha, I did order some hard copy books. And, the hard copies will all be in. The book is on on Amazon tonight. I would say to any of you all, it is actually on Amazon. But I want to tell you, I would love for you to get a personal copy for me. I can put my signature in it just for you. And man, I want to tell you something, man. I truly thank God. I want this here. I want to close this again. I wrote this in 2005. I wrote this. Listen, I hand typed this. I packed on the computer, hand typed this. 2005. Look at it today. Hard copy. Walking in the overflow. I want to tell you, man, I saw myself here 25 years ago. I started writing the book 20 years ago. It is actually 21 years today, and God has been good. I'm just a steward, and I am blessed, and I want you to be blessed by me telling you enough is enough. Hey, thank you for joining in. Share this video. We watch it, and if you're watching this video for the first time or the second time, and this video has been a blessing to you, please let me know. And even if you don't like it, let me know. And if you get the book, what I really want you to do for me is I want you to give a review of your honest opinion on Amazon. I want this book to be a blessing to so many people. And I want to say to you, maybe, just maybe, you have someone that you want to tell them enough is enough, that you see that they're going above and beyond. I want to say to you, good evening, Pastor Adrian, I want to say to you, buy the book, Standards When Enough is Enough. And I promise you, you can just say, hey, I bought this book as a gift for you. And I promise you, if they read the book, who's the book for? The book is for leaders. The book is for believers. The book is for achievers. The book is for the low. The book is for the high. This book is for everyone, because I want to tell you, love without boundaries becoming able. Love that is not guided by wisdom will eventually harm both the giver and the receiver. Love without boundaries does not heal. It delays growth. And I want to ask you tonight, who are you enabling because you want to help them and God has told you not to? Listen, you got to have wisdom to do it. Every rescue robs someone of responsibility. Allow people to fail, because if you don't allow them to fail, it can be deadly on the fall. So don't be a dead end for them. And I want to say this again, compassion without correction creates dependency. Who's depending on you that they should be depending on God? Jesus loves people deeply, but he never rescued them from their responsibility. Let people be responsible. Thank you very much. I want you to get the book by Pastor Scott Gordon. Hey, thank you. Hey, inbox me, let me know, and I'm open to do presentations for this. Pastor, hey, call me later, man. Love you, man. Love you.